It may not rival the record-setting pace of 2007, but merger activity expected to rise further in 2010. Benny Lorenzo is the chairman and CEO of New York-based investment bank Kaufman Brothers, and he looks for a significant upturn in M&A. Benny, good to have you with us. Thanks so much for coming in.
Well, good to be here.
So you're optimistic about mergers and acquisitions for 2010?
Well, absolutely. We're optimistic for a number of reasons. I mean, 2009 was a tale of two halves. The first half was things were very slow. The merger and acquisition activity frothed in August of 2009, and then it started picking up since then. And the reason for that has been that credit is more available. In an environment of slower growth, you're starting to see more strategic acquisitions and activity to enhance that growth. And valuation, even though we've had this rally of over 60–65%, are still reasonable.
Is it also because corporations have a lot of cash burning the hole in the balance sheet? They've got cash and they think they got to spend it.
That's absolutely true, and particularly in the technology sector, with companies, whether you go from Cisco to Apple to
well, we just had that Apple acquisition of that ad network recently.
Exactly. So there's a lot of cash available in those kinds of companies, and what better way than to do an acquisition, and particularly to expand your footprint, whether it's towards Asia or whether it is in terms of technology tuck-in acquisitions, if you will, that enhances growth.
All right. Well, talk about Asia and technology, and M&A. You've got like Hewlett-Packard acquiring 3Com
exactly.
For a lot of that China business. I know that you are really just back from China. Well, what kind of impression you come back with?
Well, it was really fabulous for us. We sponsored a December tour to China, to Beijing and Shanghai. We took about a dozen investors, and we visited the top 15, 25 companies in China. And it was my first time there. So for me, I learned a lot. The thing that impressed me about China is the ability, the tenacity, the intensity, the perseverance of the Chinese people, and the scale of things. When you go into the airport, it's huge. When you have 10 to 1,500-story buildings all together in Shanghai, so it's quite impressive. So there's a lot of growth.
So do you buy into the potential that there's a bubble brewing in China, or do you think that this growth is for real and it's going to be sustainable?
Well, I actually think that the growth rates that are being put out there, in terms of probably 9% growth in 2009, in the year past, and maybe 11% in 2010, actually may prove to be light. I think the growth is probably even higher than that. The government itself is concerned that there might be a bubble in real estate, and they've changed. In fact, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they changed their laws, so anybody that is buying land to develop, they have to put a 50% down payment, and they have to pay the full price within 12 months. They're concerned about that. They want to dampen that.
Trying to get rid of some of the speculation.
Exactly.
Just a last question for you about technology and one particular stock I know that you like to follow yourself, Intel. You really like Intel, don't you?
Yes, we really like Intel. We think that they're going to exceed the guidance, the earnings forecast, and that's because they have a good product cycle that they're riding. But the PC business, in terms of unit growth, is probably grew at 20% in the fourth quarter. And the really key thing is that in 2010, we think that the PC unit growth will be 15 to 20%. And in January, it's going to be up versus December. That usually never happens. Seasonally, it goes down.
All right. Well, we're going to have to find out what happens with Intel. We'll have you back in the future. And also, I know you're going to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. Have a great trip.
Okay.
We'll get a report from you from there as well.
Thanks very much.
Benny Lorenzo, Kaufman Brothers.